Amidst waters that appear deceptively calm, danger can strike in mere seconds. Killer whales observe silently, maintaining their distance, only to suddenly shift formation the moment their prey shows a vulnerability. Every burst of speed, change of direction, and closing maneuver is executed with astonishing precision. As the gap narrows and escape routes vanish, does the prey stand any chance of survival? Sharks inhabit waters across the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, ranging from coastal areas and coral reefs to the open ocean and deep waters. With their streamlined bodies and skeletons composed primarily of cartilage, sharks are lightweight and move efficiently underwater. Their adaptability makes them formidable adversaries, though swimming near the surface can quickly place them within a killer whale's line of sight. Recognizing the shark's ability to accelerate and change direction rapidly, the killer whale does not rush in immediately but maintains a distance to observe. It adjusts its trajectory, approaches from the flank, and then suddenly accelerates to deliver a powerful ramming blow to its prey. After this initial strike, the killer whale pulls back to gauge the shark's reaction before closing in again as the shark begins to slow down. The gap narrows further as the shark attempts to change course and escape the area. The killer whale pursues, maintaining a strategic position and applying pressure until the shark can no longer manage an escape. The confrontation ends with the killer whale victorious, turning the prey into a valuable source of food. This outcome demonstrates that while sharks possess the advantage of agility and adaptability across various environments, killer whales rely on keen observation, precise timing, and sheer physical power. In the ocean, a successful hunt provides not only sustenance, but also the vital energy required for the survival of the killer whale and its entire pod. Along the western coast of North America, stretching from Alaska down to California and Mexico, sea lions frequently congregate around rocky islets, bays, estuaries, and fish-rich coastal waters. They haul out onto land to rest, breed, and rear their young, while also demonstrating the ability to learn, remember, and react quickly to environmental changes. However, near the water's edge, a few pups venture into the shallows, narrowing the safety gap between them and potential danger. This proximity prompts a pod of offshore killer whales to shift tactics. They cruise slowly along the coast, observing and waiting for a pup to stray from the group. When the opportunity arises, the killer whales accelerate, surging into the shallows. A pup turns to flee back to shore, but is quickly intercepted. One killer whale retreats to deeper water, while the others maintain control of the area. The attack ends in victory for the killer whales, with the sea lion becoming a meal for the entire pod. Their keen observation, ability to gauge distances, and precise timing enable them to hunt effectively close to the shoreline. The nutrients gained from the hunt provide the energy necessary for the pod's continued survival. Dolphins inhabit waters ranging from tropical and subtropical to temperate zones, frequenting areas from coastal waters, bays and estuaries to the open ocean. They utilize echolocation, emitting clicks to determine distance and detect surrounding movement, a capability particularly useful when visibility is limited. However, this particular dolphin is drifting away from its pod, steadily widening the gap between itself and the rest of the group. This rapid separation immediately catches the attention of the killer whales. They maintain a watchful distance before one suddenly accelerates to close in, while the others fan out to cut off any escape brookware. The dolphin speeds up and repeatedly changes direction, seemingly on the verge of escape, but a powerful impact disrupts its swimming rhythm. Within seconds, the killer whale is right on its tail again. As the dolphin makes a final burst of speed, the killer whale stays in close pursuit, constantly adjusting its position to narrow the escape path. The dolphin attempts another change of direction, but fails to create any distance. The hunt concludes with the killer whale emerging victorious. The prey becomes a source of nutrition and energy, helping to maintain the balance of the ocean ecosystem. In temperate, Arctic, and Antarctic waters, seals inhabit coastlines, rocky islands, sandy beaches, estuaries, and sea ice. They haul out onto the ice to rest, give birth, and molt, yet spend their foraging time in the water. Their ability to adapt to both water and ice grants them flexibility in the face of environmental changes. However, every exit from the water is a life-or-death gamble, as seals risk falling into the sights of killer whales, sparking a fierce confrontation. No sooner does the seal return to the ice than a killer whale closes in from below, a massive dark shape rising to track its prey's movements. They do not attack immediately, but maintain their distance, observing the seal's sliding rhythm before tightening the circle and accelerating to corner it against the ice edge. Powerful waves batter the ice, causing the seal to slide toward the sea. Though it manages to cling on, the tense chase drags on. As the hunt reaches its climax, the water churns violently. Each time the seal attempts to climb up, the ice block shakes from a blow delivered from below, knocking the animal back into the freezing water. Exhaustion sets in rapidly. The pod of killer whales coordinates to apply relentless pressure, denying their prey any chance to rest. When the seal clings to the ice edge one last time, a massive wave crashes over, sweeping it back into the deep and sealing its fate. The hunt reveals how seals rely on their agility between water and ice to evade danger, while killer whales employ coordinated tactics to eliminate any chance of survival. Neither side holds absolute dominance. The slightest misstep can determine the outcome. In nature, survival belongs not to the strongest, but to the best adapted a realm where every choice leads to an unpredictable conclusion. Whales are widely distributed across the oceans, ranging from tropical and temperate zones to the polar regions. Many baleen whale species undertake long migrations between nutrient-rich feeding grounds and warmer breeding waters, while others have adapted to life in the Arctic or the deep sea. During one such journey, a solitary whale finds itself separated from its pod. This separation quickly brings the whale into the sights of a pursuing pod of killer whales. The killer whales immediately break formation. Some accelerate from the flanks, while others close in from behind, repeatedly forcing the whale to change direction. The whale surges toward open water, but whenever it finds a gap, the killer whales shift positions to close the distance and maintain the chase. The relentless pressure causes the whale to slow down, while the killer whales take turns closing in from multiple angles. When the whale no longer has the strength to pull away, the pod tightens its formation, controlling the whale's movements and bringing the hunt to a close. The whale is taken down, becoming a nutrient-rich food source that fuels the pod and supports the survival of the killer whales. In the southern hemisphere, penguins inhabit regions ranging from the frigid waters of Antarctica to temperate zones. Highly social creatures, many species gather in large colonies, using vocalizations and body signals to recognize one another. For emperor penguins, huddling together helps reduce heat loss and conserve energy. However, out at sea, a lone swimming penguin is about to face danger. Peril strikes when a pod of killer whales spots the penguin and immediately gives chase. They fan out to close the gap, while the penguin accelerates and constantly changes direction to evade capture. Cornered, it veers toward a nearby tourist boat, clings to the side, and scrambles onto the deck. The killer whales continue to circle the vessel, but cannot pursue any further. Seizing this unexpected moment of safety, the penguin makes its escape. Thanks to quick reflexes, the ability to assess the situation, and a smart choice of direction, it survives. In tropical, subtropical, and temperate waters worldwide, stingrays typically inhabit the seabed in coastal areas, bays, estuaries, and coral reefs, as well as over sandy or muddy bottoms. They utilize the ampullae of Lorenzini to detect the faint electrical signals of prey hidden beneath the substrate, while some species also press their fins against the bottom to aid in foraging. When a stingray leaves the sand and begins moving through open water, its presence quickly draws nearby attention. Approaching from behind, the killer whale maintains its distance, tracking the ray's path before closing in. The stingray changes direction, but the orca instantly accelerates, twisting its body and whipping its tail to destabilize the prey. The ray attempts to hug the seabed, The orca pursues it for a few seconds, but then abruptly slows down, shifting to merely circling and observing. This shift causes the encounter to conclude quite differently from a typical hunt. The stingray continues swimming without further attack, while the orca leaves the area. The orca's decision to halt the attack suggests that this behavior may not have been a predatory hunt, but rather an act of exploration, play, or hunting practice. Through each encounter, killer whales demonstrate that brute strength is not their only advantage. Their powers of observation, coordination, tactical flexibility, and precise timing enable them to tackle a wide variety of prey. Each hunt not only provides sustenance, but also reflects the pressures of survival in the ocean. In a realm where mistakes come at a high price, it is often the most adaptable that ultimately prevail. On the frigid ice floes of the Arctic, where any movement is easily discernible against the vast white expanse, the polar bear moves slowly but strategically. It doesn't rush to attack, silently observing and waiting for the moment its prey is off guard. Instead of relying on speed, it closes in, forcing its opponent to react in an instant. The hunt ends quickly once the distance is controlled. Polar bears live primarily in the Arctic Ocean, stretching across Canada, Alaska, Greenland, Norway, and Russia. They rely heavily on sea ice for transportation, hunting, and resting. Their thick fur and subcutaneous fat help them withstand temperatures below -40 degrees Celsius. When the ice melts in the summer, many individuals must swim tens to hundreds of kilometers to find food. Polar bears are apex predators with extremely strong survival instincts. They patiently stalk seals for hours near breathing holes in the ice, waiting for the moment to strike. Their sense of smell is incredibly sensitive, allowing them to detect prey from kilometers away or under thick snow. They are usually solitary, defending their territory and adapting flexibly to the harsh conditions of the polar region. Along the Arctic coast, seals live in frigid waters near 0 degrees Fahrenheit, often appearing on ice floes to rest between hunting for fish and squid. They move nimbly between the ice and the water. But it is this habit of resting on the ice that gradually creates opportunities for them to be easily spotted from the surface. On an ice floe, a polar bear stalks a resting seal, remaining silent and using the wind to avoid detection, waiting for the opportune moment. The bear approaches the edge of the ice, lunging forward, closing in on its prey and gaining control of the seal. The attack is swift as the seal attempts to slide into the water, but a slow reaction causes it to be trapped, disrupting its escape. The polar bear maintains pressure, pulling the seal back onto the ice and taking control. The end comes when the escape route is cut off, and the ability to maneuver almost disappears, demonstrating that the outcome is decided in that single moment of controlling the distance. In the coniferous forests, tundra, and vast grasslands of North America, gray wolves are distributed and move in packs, adapted to cold environments. They rely on coordination and endurance, and it is this group-based behavior that gradually opens up exploratory approaches. On a windy stretch of icy land, a polar bear spotted a pack of wolves approaching and stopped to observe, thus maintaining a standoff. The wolves circled around, keeping their distance and probing, gradually closing the gap. The moment lasted without a direct charge. The wolves hesitated while the bear held its position, tilting the balance toward the side, controlling the ice. One by one, the wolves retreated, and when the pressure subsided, the encounter ended without escalation. Beneath the Arctic ice, beluga whales live in the cold waters around Russia's Kara Sea, often moving in large pods to find fish and adapt to the icy environment. In the summer, they swim deep into estuaries to feed and breed, gradually moving closer to the ice edge where danger begins to form. At the edge of the ice, a polar bear lies low, observing the water's surface and tracking the movements of the beluga herd, patiently waiting for the opportune moment instead of pouncing immediately. This forces the prey closer with each movement, and when the distance is close enough, the bear suddenly plunges into the water, shifting the situation to a direct approach. The hunt unfolds quickly as the belugas attempt to escape into deeper water. But the sudden movement causes one to lose its advantage and disrupts the escape. The polar bear maintains its momentum, pulling the prey back to the ice edge and regaining control. The outcome is sealed when there is no longer enough distance to escape. Along the frigid coastal cliffs, guillemots live in the subarctic seas, where strong winds, big waves, and abundant fish thrive beneath the cold water. They nest on narrow, closely spaced rock outcrops, forming dense clusters. And it is this cramped environment that exposes them to vulnerability when threatened. on the ice-covered edge of the rock. A polar bear moved slowly, observing the nesting area and maintaining a low profile to avoid detection. It gradually closed the distance. When the flock of birds became agitated, the bear suddenly lunged forward, rapidly closing in amidst the chaos. The narrow space prevented many from flying, forcing them to scramble for escape and disrupting their reaction time. The bear maintained its momentum, controlling the situation at close range, ultimately securing the food, and from there, their chances of escape were almost completely eliminated. Off the Arctic coast, walruses live in the Beaufort Sea off Alaska, where they congregate on ice floes between dives to feed in the frigid waters. They have large bodies, thick layers of blubber, and long tusks for defense, and this herd lifestyle gradually creates gaps in their movement. On the edge of the ice, a polar bear stopped to observe the resting walrus herd, maintaining distance and moving slowly downwind to avoid detection, thus waiting for the opportune moment. It didn't charge directly but circled around the outside, and when chaos ensued, it suddenly accelerated, closing in on its target separated from the group. The chase was tense as the walrus tried to turn back toward the herd, while the bear maintained its pace, closing in and dodging defensive maneuvers, causing the distance to rapidly narrow. The difference became apparent when one walrus was forced out of position. Ultimately, the bear gained control, and from then on, the chance of a return was almost non-existent. Amidst the Arctic ice floes, polar bears live on the vast sea ice that stretches across Alaska, where temperatures are near 0 degrees Fahrenheit and their food source depends on moving ice. They don't stay in one place but follow the ice currents to hunt, sometimes traveling hundreds of miles just to find a seal. And it is this journey that often leads to inevitable encounters. In the midst of the harsh ice, two giant polar bears unexpectedly encounter each other, forcing both to stop and assess the situation. They lower their heads, circling around to probe, gradually closing the distance. When the time is right, one suddenly lunges forward, turning the situation into a direct standoff. The confrontation escalates as both continuously press closer on the slippery ice, controlling the distance with each movement. The difference gradually becomes apparent as one maintains a more stable pace and forces the other to retreat. Finally, one withdraws. Control returns to the other, determined by their ability to maintain distance in the hushed terrain. in the Arctic and subarctic tundras and snowfields. Reindeer live in areas where temperatures can drop below 0 degrees Celsius and their food sources are hidden beneath the ice. They travel in large herds, sometimes traversing hundreds of miles through blizzards in search of food. And it is these long journeys that gradually bring them into vulnerable positions. On a snow-covered shore, a polar bear spots a reindeer. It lowers its body and moves slowly to avoid attracting attention, thus closing the gap. When the wind changes direction, the prey realizes danger and plunges into the cold water. The bear immediately follows, shifting the pursuit underwater. The chase continues underwater as the reindeer tries to swim away, but its rapid pace slows in the cold water, gradually closing the distance. The polar bear maintains its momentum, closing the gap and taking control, demonstrating that the outcome is decided when the pace of movement is controlled. In each encounter, the clear common thread is the polar bear's ability to observe, approach at the right time, and control its distance. The results stem not only from strength, but from their ability to disrupt the prey's reaction and force them into a disadvantageous position. And once the initiative is established, the situation is almost irreversible.